So hey guys, how you doing? Long time no see, really. Um, for a number of reasons. One, I've just been focusing on. I've been living down in Cork. I posted a couple of times down there, just trying to get my health back together, and I've had a bit of success. I'm certainly have a lot stronger than I was. And two, it's January, right? So like, I'm not fishing really. We were out the other day, all right, but there's not much to talk about, right? So you end up just repeating yourself and it becomes boring. That's the last thing we want to be. But I do want to show you my gamble for this year, right? I haven't had a bass on this bait. I don't know. Like, I can't come on and say, oh, this is the dogs or whatever, but I believe it will be. So it's the one I'm taking a risk on. Like everything else in the shop are products I know and have fished, and I just know where they work and when they work and all the rest of it. So it's this guy. It's the Raid Fantastic. I mean, look at the color of that, right? And you can see here it's got a join in the middle of the body and at the back of that tiny little tail. And they're heavy, right? So I think that is 13 grams, and its big brother, which is here, is 18 grams, right? So how are they getting the weight in? Well, they're using a lot of salt, right? So tip is I wouldn't leave my hooks on this, if you know what I mean, because the salt will corrode everything. I mean, it's no different from sea salt, right? It's probably sea salt they're using or some kind of really cheap salt. So why do I like it so much? Well, it blew up the American largemouth bass fishing scene, right? And a lot of the innovation, when I started lure fishing for sea bass, came from American largemouth bass fishing, right? So it's a kind of a scene I always keep an eye on. I mean, tournament fishermen are serious anglers. They're out there every day. They're fishing for fish that have seen every lure under the sun. They're fishing high pressured waters, right? So if they come out and say something is worth looking at, I pay attention to it. So plus I saw them on my wholesaler site, and I just really like the look of them. I mean, they just, that's it in white, right? So what are the advantages of it? Well, one is it's heavy, right? So it'll sink. And if you YouTube it there and look at it on the bottom, I mean, I've had it on the bottom in an estuary, and it's kind of just sits there, and that little tail just waggles, right? And I don't know how many of you dead stick baits, right? I dead stick baits quite a lot. I know there's a load of talk at the minute about creature baits and all the rest, and yeah, I've fished creature baits, I've fished them a couple of years for bass, and I've done really well on them. And that essentially is dead sticking, right? So you're just leaving the bait there, and like with the sleeper craw, for example, its claws float, so you end up with this gig going on, right? So yeah, I just wanted to show you it in more detail. So look, you can certainly fish it on a jig head or whatever, but I really think you're going to get the best out of it fishing it weightless, the same as an Albi snack or a lance or whatever. So it's just center it on the pin, and these are decoy mutts or something or other. My Japanese is not the best, right? Center it on the pin, okay, then pick your line, right, mark it with your thumb, back around through the hole, and there we go, right, lovely. And we have it. I really reckon, honest to God, a bass killing machine. I hope, anyway. So that's my gamble for this year. The other thing I wanted to show you that I kind of showed you a little bit of, but didn't get a chance to show you properly, was this new Ultimate fishing bag, right? So you're going to have to move the camera a little bit and stuff to get this job done. So, the chair on my way without crushing a rod or something. So, what's so good about this bag? Well, first off, it's comfortable, right? So the strap is wide and well padded. Okay, you come down, then it sits in a nice spot, right? It's got loads of little hoops and itchy-me-gidgies to put all your stuff on. It slips around really easily, right? Now, there's a nice little feature. It's got Velcro here, so you can just Velcro tab that. You've got a front zip pocket there, which is going to be ideal for, I'm going to get in some of the clear pouches, right, which is just going to be deadly for your soft plastics, because you'll be able to see into the pouch and just pick out whatever it is you want for your day, for your next cast or whatever. So you got that front pocket there. You can see I've got some 4-inch golden baits, absolutely beautiful one-up shots in there. And then you got your main, which is divided in the middle. I'm not sure you can really see that, but there's a divider in the middle there, so you can get 2 good lure boxes at least in there. And that slider back around. Now, I've been out fishing with it a couple of times. Honest to God, it's the most comfortable bag. I mean, I've always used that style of bag, right? And I certainly don't want to put down any other brand of bag. I mean, the last bag I used was a good bag, and I got years out of it, and it was really good, but not as good as that, right? Not as comfortable, not as well made, not as well designed. So yeah, I mean, what more to say? There's no more to say about it. I mean, the quality speaks for itself, right? It's Ultimate Fishing, but what Ultimate did was they bought out the rights from Megabass, so it's the old Megabass bag. Certainly, I know a few well-established anglers in Waterford who were waiting to get their hands on them. And because if you're like me, right, and I've done this so many times, is lost boxes of lures, right, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. Like, it's not the, it is kind of the money, but it's not the money. It's the fact that they were always like, I lost a box of needles, right, and it was like, oh, mind blown, because they were my favorite needles, like, and I caught loads of fish on them and da 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 da. So I just really like that little clip there, that thing there that's just da da da, because you can say, oh yeah, I'll zip it up and unzip it, but when I'm fishing, and if I get excited and the fish are on and da da da, I just don't think of these things or whatever. So I wanted to show you that in a bit more detail. They're not cheap. They're retailing that in around €100, but like, what is cheap? If you want quality, you're gonna have to pay for it. It's that simple. Oh, speaking of cheap, right? I wanted to show you another bait that I haven't been able to get my hands on in years, right? So, because it's too expensive to import from France or whatever, like the postage is just ridiculous. But that's the Sayori shad from Ultimate Fishing, right? It doesn't look like much, right? But let me tell you, I watched Richard Cake take an 11.5 pound, I think. Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, fish on the very same lure. He drilled out the bottom here. He'd put a rattle in, if I remember rightly, and he was fishing it on a simple football jig head or whatever. But really nice bait. I mean, look at the paddler on that, right? I mean, it really thumps. So if you're fishing like fast estuary water or whatever, like mid-tide, tide running really strong, that's a bait that's going to get the job done for you. It certainly has for me. I love them. I fish them a lot from the boat. Other paddle tails I really like. 1-up shad 4-inch, 1-up shad 5-inch. Go up as far as the 6-inch sometimes, never more. Really like the little 4-inch, and it comes in just some fantastic colors. Again, not cheap, and to be honest, not super durable, but by Jesus, do they catch fish. Like, they absolutely hammer fish, no doubt about it. I think these lures are going to absolutely take off this year. I think up till now people have been kind of not so sure about them, right? So the sleeper range. I mean, they're just such a clever little lure, and they're so well made, and they're so nice to fish with, right? But if you're not willing to lose this lure, then you're not fishing it. That it is that simple, right? You gotta to get results with this, you gotta have it tight to the bottom, right? But if you look at the nose is designed in such a way that it like just literally bumps over the rocks, right? Like I've lost a few, but not many, to be honest. And so the hook is obviously protected inside in the little fin, right? Um, yeah. So that's my prediction for this year: is the dark sleepers are going to take off in a big way. I mean, they're absolutely, you know, number one bait in France and the Netherlands and stuff. The guys are absolutely hammering fish in Rotterdam and stuff on them, and in the north of France. That's it in the Wakasagi in the bigger size. I mean, like, look, talk about matching the hatch. You walk any rock pool between here and Bun, and what you're going to find is little fellas like that hid in, all sorts of gobies and, you know, blennies and all sorts of other little fish just hid in little crevices, right? And talk to anybody who's scuba diver or spearfishman or whatever, anybody who's been underwater and watched bass feed, right? So they come into a bay and they literally just, I've watched them from the shore with the glasses. They just in a pack just dunk, 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 everything. And what happens is it puts everything into a panic and the stuff comes either, pops out and the bass grab it and da da da. You know, and how small can you fish for bass? Well, like anytime, I mean, years ago we used to kill a lot more fish, right? Because we didn't know, like, do you know what I mean? We were kids, we hadn't a clue. But anytime you gutted a fish, you were sure to find little hardback crabs. So don't be worried about the bass can't see you. They can see you. If they can see a crab that size, they can pick up a bait that size or smaller, right? So, uh, yeah, so those are just a few things I wanted to show you. I mean, look, it's January, right? It's like absolutely miserable here today. I was like, woke up today, I had a bit of energy. I was like, lovely, I'll go fishing today. And it's absolutely pissing. Like you'd have absolutely no pleasure out there. It'd just be miserable. I mean, if it stops raining, I might go across the way for an hour, but uh, it doesn't look like it's going to. We've got low cloud and what have you for the day. So anyway, look, it's good to be back YouTube in a bit, and I wanted to show you some of that kit because I honestly believe it really is top quality, top notch gear. And that's it. Yeah, and we'll keep going. I don't know when I'm gonna have the shop open because my IT guy got the super flu or whatever that's going around. Some people seem to be really sick, so I'm having to be super careful. Never mind your super flu, like even in the supermarkets and stuff. You know what I mean? The last thing I need now is about the flu. Like, so he's been sick. So he texted me this morning to say he's getting back in his feet. So I mean, hopefully it'll be soon enough. Other things on the agenda. Heading to Cheltenham for the Bass AGM. Really looking forward to that. Meeting some of the people I know from Instagram. I've never met in real life, just watched them. Some really accomplished anglers, Lee Smith and some other guys. So, yeah, that's it. All is well. Be a chance to just promote the business, promote Southeast Ireland as a fishing destination. Got some of my fishing pals to send me pictures of some of the really decent bass they caught, so it's not all pictures of me. That would be just a touch narcissistic. Uh, and that ain't me. So yeah, so look, all is well. I hope everyone is well. If you're fishing tight lines, and yeah, we'll leave it there. I'm just going to keep talking rubbish, so I'm not going to do that. All right, so we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.